How to eat when you have no appetite. Experiencing a lack of appetite can be super disconcerting, especially when it just completely changes your daily routine and the way that you eat, and it can be extremely uncomfortable. The thing with not having an appetite is that you'll still feel hunger. You'll still get all the signs and your stomach will rumble and you'll feel like empty inside and you'll have all these things. But you just won't be able to physically eat the food the way that you usually would. It just might make you feel sick. It won't be appealing. Obviously, you still need to eat, even if this happens. So here's how to do that. So the first step is that you need to differentiate if this is a short-term appetite loss or a long-term one. And the reason why I'm actually making this video is that it happened to me a few weeks ago. I had a loss of appetite. Personally, for me, that's just the way that my body kind of functions. Every time I deal with something that is a little bit tough emotionally, I'm gonna lose my appetite for a little bit. And at first I was a little bit scared when it would happen, but now I've just come to terms with it and I know how to kind of navigate that. And I have a few tips and tricks that I'm going to tell you about, and I'll mix that with my nutrition knowledge, and I feel like this would be a helpful video. In my situation, it's always short term, and so I really try not to stress about it, because the more you stress about it, the more emotions you're gonna put on top of it and the longer it will last. And I do try to really listen to my body, so I don't eat as much as when I have my regular appetite. It's just too hard to. Eating less or eating foods that are different than usual or having a different eating routine than usual is okay for a little bit, as long as it doesn't last months and months and months. If it's a little while, it's not a problem. Your body is very smart. Your body will be able to adapt. And that, again, stressing about that, if it's a short-term situation, not helpful. However, if you feel like it's something that has been going on for more than a few months and you are not finding any type of solution to this, you're not feeling like it's getting better, then that is a different situation, and we're going to talk about addressing that later on. But first, let's talk about short-term loss of appetite. And the first thing you should do is listen to your body. If you're going through a period where food just seems unappealing, it's okay to listen to your body for that period of time. This could be linked to a bunch of things. You could be under a very stressful period, or you could be dealing with some personal issues that are very difficult to process emotionally, like sad or even very happy. It can be linked to temporary illness or anxiety or just a bunch of things. And during this time, it's okay to listen to what your body's telling you, to the signals, and not to force food down your throat. However, you still need to make sure that you are nourishing your body as much as possible. So what you really need to work on is honoring your hunger cues whenever you can. You really need to double down on paying attention to your body's signals, because chances are you're gonna get slight hunger cues, you're gonna get slight increases of appetite, and it may not be at the moment that you are expecting them, but it's really, really important that you act on these signals whenever they do arise. Even if you start feeling a little bit hungry and you eat only a small amount, that's going to be maybe less overwhelming for you than waiting, and then having to eat an entire meal. During this period, for me, whenever I would have the slightest craving for something or the slightest increase in appetite, I would eat something. Even if it wasn't time to eat, even if I already eaten an hour before, whatever, I didn't care. I used that. I jumped on that occasion. Another thing you need to focus on are your go-to comfort foods. So we all have those foods that are very comforting to us and that we can eat no matter our hunger levels, no matter our appetite levels. It could be toast and nut butter, a bowl of oatmeal, a bowl of mac and cheese, yogurt, and some jam, whatever it is for you. I would really advise that you make a list of these foods if there are multiple, and then make sure that these foods, you always have them on hand, and they can be your backup option or even your main go-to option if you feel like just nothing is appealing to you. Another really good tip that really works, for me at least, is to opt for easy to eat foods. So for instance, during the past few weeks, I would always be drinking smoothies. I would be drinking probiotic rich foods like kefir and skyr yogurt, drinkable yogurt, things like that, and soups that are very easy to get down because you don't have to do like all this chewing, all this effort. I'm not a huge protein powder fan, but during these moments, they can be very good to have on hand as well. You can throw them in a smoothie, whatever, make a juice, make whatever you want with them, and it's gonna enable you to get energy, calories, protein without really realizing it that much. Another thing I really focused on was having calorie-rich foods on hand, because chances are you're not going to be able to eat lots of things. So it's good if the options that you do have are pretty calorie dense. So make sure that you have things like nuts and seeds and like dried fruit, and that you add oil, like olive oil and different types of oils and butters and heavy creams and like full fat milk and whatever to everything you can. One of my tips to kind of like get through these periods is to have sweetened condensed milk. I would literally have this like every 3 days, like the whole thing. Like I would get like a little tube of it, have the whole tube. And I'm not saying it's the healthiest thing in the world for you, but it is very, very high in calories, and it is pretty high in protein because it's like milk and you take out the water from it, and then there's added sugar. So it's really high in sugar, but you know, your brain needs that sugar, your body needs that sugar to function. So for me, this was a really great way to get in a big amount of calories in like a tiny amount of time. Didn't really realize it that much. It's a really great way to prevent weight loss and to prevent also like dizziness and just feelings of weakness, things like that, because you're not able to eat as many calories as usual. Having frequent smaller meals is also a great tip, because it can be very, very overwhelming to have to make an entire meal and eat that entire meal when you don't have an appetite. And it can be much less daunting to just have multiple snacks every like 2 to 3 hours. When I say snacks, I just mean like mini meals, many things to eat, smaller portions. That's really what I would do. Eating every couple hours, small things, so it's not too difficult to get down, and you can just take a break when it becomes too difficult, and then you come back to it. This can be really good to maintain your energy levels throughout the day, even when you're not eating a lot. And things that I would have for these little mini meals, I would have like some eggs, like hard-boiled eggs, or I would have some like carrots, hummus, or like celery sticks, hummus, or lots of like nuts and dried fruit and fruit in general, slices of cheese with like a little bit of bread, things like that. And then to kind of go along with that, another tip I would suggest is to have kind of like a snack basket available for you at all times, where you put a bunch of little snacks, again, nuts and dried fruit, and you can get like little packs of different things that you like, and just have that on hand and just reach for that whenever you have a slight craving, a slight increase of appetite, anything. Another very helpful tip is really to embrace convenient foods. I mean, I'm the first to say it's better to eat whole foods, it's better to eat home cooked meals, yes, but it's actually really better to eat something than nothing at all. And it's okay to have a period where you know that you're not going to be cooking because it's too overwhelming to cook, to buy stuff, and to like eat the entire thing. And in that situation, it's totally okay to opt for convenient foods. Again, we're talking about a few weeks, maximum a few months. So don't hesitate to rely on foods that require very little to no preparation. You can get prepackaged salads, prepackaged veggies, things like that are already pre-made, pre-cut, frozen, canned, microwavable things, microwavable rice. One thing I ate a lot personally was feed bars, and these are really my favorite, but you can find so many other bars that are like meal replacement bars. In these types of situations, they're very useful. I would also drink a lot of innocent smoothies, and again, a lot of like drinkable yogurts, things like that. Oh yeah, and my thing that I ate all the time as well was like the onigiri sushi like triangle thing. And finally, especially if this is a period that's lasting a little bit longer for you, take any time you have where you feel like motivated, hungry, where you have appetite, take those moments and meal prep during these moments. Like, you might have moments where you're gonna feel a little bit better, your appetite is gonna come back. Do some meal prepping, batch cook some grains, pre-cook some veggies, whatever, make certain dishes. You can even like make dishes and freeze them, make them into like little portions and freeze them so that you have options whenever your appetite kind of dips down again. Also, I really recommend that you check out my cookbook where I put a bunch of recipes that are healthy, balanced, and a lot of them I can still eat even if my appetite is very low. And there are also recipes that you can kind of like batch cook so that you can eat small portions throughout the week, for instance, again, even if your appetite is pretty low. The link will be in the description. So let's talk about long-term appetite loss. So like I said earlier, if this is something that just goes on for like a few weeks, it's okay. Your body has the resources to adapt. You are doing the best you can in this type of situation. So it's totally fine to resort to the methods I talked about. Again, the goal is that you just want to be eating a little bit. You want to get some energy in. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if you don't eat as much as usual. Try not to add to your already pretty emotional situation by adding stress about the situation on top of that. Now, that being said, if your lack of appetite persists over a longer period of time, it definitely needs to be addressed. So I'd absolutely consult a professional because this could be linked to many different things. It could be the symptom of some type of illness, like maybe a gastrointestinal issue or something else. Like there are lots of diseases that will have appetite loss as kind of a symptom. So again, you don't need to worry if it's something that's just for a little while, but if it gets longer, if it lasts, make sure to check in with a health professional in that aspect. And also for the mental health aspect, it could be linked to anxiety or depression or like a very stressful situation that you're currently going through, a very emotional situation that you're currently going through, and that you need help navigating, because again, you can't go multiple months without eating enough, without having an appetite. So make sure that you get the help you need in that department, whether that is medical help if it's something linked to your physical body, or mental health help, therapy to kind of help you deal with what could be bringing on your appetite loss. So hopefully this video was helpful. I know that these aren't the funnest times. This is not a comfortable situation to be in, but if you're able not to stress about it too much and do some of these tips in order to maintain yourself afloat, then that's all you really can do. Again, you're doing the best you can in a difficult situation, and you have to trust your body. It has resources. It can go through this and you'll be fine. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye.